pack. When you're running with the pack.
It's Wolfie here, and welcome back to the channel. So today I've got another money making method for you guys, and this one is a new addition to the engine swap series. So we're using the NSX 2002, but you can also use the 1992 model, and we've done the engine swap with the NSX GT500. So a Group 2 car in this game, but it's a Super GT car in real life. Now this thing's absolutely amazing on fuel, and I've used it for a number of events in the 600 pp class, 700 pp class, and I think even the 800 at some stage or another. So this car's had a number of iterations for me, but I've just tried out the 700 pp event with it, and it still holds up amazingly well. So you can quite easily get 7 laps in under half an hour, or quite easily do 8 laps. So be sure to like and subscribe if you like the content, and let's get stuck into the build. Okay, so the Honda NSX Type R 2002 is currently available in the used car dealership, and it'll set you back $431,600 at the moment. Credits, sorry. However, if it's not available in the used car dealership upon watching this video, then you can find it at any time at the Honda dealership. So it'll only set you back probably an extra 60 something thousand credits. And sitting right next to it, of course, is the source car, the NSX GT500. And yeah, this is one of my favorite swaps, to be honest. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to head into GT Auto, and you're going to want to do the wide body and engine swap conversions. This is on my stock model, so I've already done the wide body but not yet done the engine swap on this one. The wide body will cost you about 50 grand, I believe, but the engine swap is 500,000. So you're looking at around $1 million, give or take, for this build. However, you're gonna make that back in just over one race. The displacement's a little bit less, so it's only a 2-litre engine, but it pumps out a little bit more power. And obviously, being a lesser displacement, you're going to use less fuel. So the weight is a little bit less, brake horsepower a little bit more. There's quite a bit more extra torque, and the power to weight ratio is a little bit better. So all in all, that's going to help you get that same sort of power that you would, but you're going to be a lot lighter, and you're going to be able to retain a lot more fuel. So we're going to chuck that bad boy in. Now, as far as wheels and aero parts, as you can see, I've displayed them here on the tuning sheet just to try and save a little bit of time. So we've got 587 brake horsepower out of this thing, and we've got 1.2 tons. It's running 11.13 second quarter miles, and the stability actually is not too bad on this thing. I think perhaps the stance of the car, how wide it is, how low you can run it, is actually it's what helps this thing maintain its stability in and out of corners. Rotational G's aren't actually that high, considering how much power is in this car and how quick you can throw it around corners. So as far as the tune's concerned, we've got racing hard tyres front and rear. We've got the fully customizable suspension, and we've set that to 98 at the front, 102 at the rear. You can change that rear height a little bit and increase if you feel like you need more of a rake effect, and it'll just basically help you to keep that rear end from flinging out as you go in and out of corners. So anti-roll bar is set to 8 at the front and 7 at the rear. The dampening ratio compression is 37 at the front and at the rear, 47 for the expansion at the front and the rear, so it's all pretty standard there, just up on the stock settings. Natural frequency is set to 2.55 at the front and 2.70 at the rear, a little bit softer at the back just to help try and prevent those rear wheels from picking themselves up off the tarmac as you go around the corners and as you accelerate. Negative camber is set to 2.8 at the front, 1.8 at the rear. So once again, I've used a little bit less at the rear. That's just going to help me to maintain those rear tires. Toe angle is set to 0.07 outward at the front, so that's to the left, and 0.17 inward at the rear, so that's to the right. The fully customizable LSD I've set to 7 for the initial torque, 17 for the acceleration sensitivity, and braking sensitivity to 30. You really want to use the gears to help you slow down with this thing, so if you're using manual gear shift, just really power down through those gears and it'll help pull the car up. As far as downforce is concerned, I've only used a little bit at the front, but it still manages to pitch in really well, so we're running that at 80. Rear downforce is set to 250. ECU is fully customizable and the output is set to 100%. We've got 200 kilos worth of ballast and push that slightly forward at minus 28. So that's just going to help us to even up that weight between the front and the rear of the car. We've offset that with quite a bit of, or a little bit of weight reduction. Power restrictor is set to 72%. Now I have used the medium RPM turbocharger, however I tried it with the power restrictor up and without the turbocharger, and it's definitely faster with the turbocharger and the power restrictor set down. I'm only using the normal transmission for this because it gets us those extra PP points. We get that little bit of extra power, and because the rev range on these gears actually gets you all the way through, and it isn't too shabby at all. So I think this is the faster method. As I was saying, we've got the medium RPM turbo, and make sure you set the anti-lag to strong. And yeah, keep an eye on the back of the car when you do, because this thing spits flames. Right, brake system is carbon and brake pads are racing. I always grab the handbrake, it just helps me when I want to get myself out of sticky situations. And I've got the brake controller and set that to -2. -3 is probably even good. It'll help you to just prevent yourself from having the rear end slide out, and also it's going to save those rear tires for you. So I'm using the semi-racing clutch and flywheel for this one. I couldn't quite get away with using the race one, it required too many performance points. So as I was saying, we've got stage 1 weight reduction there. So that's just to offset the part of the weight that we've added. Increased body rigidity, of course, you're going to need it with this thing because it absolutely flies. And of course we're taking this one to Cirque de la Sarthe for the Le Mans World Touring Car 700 event, and just make sure that you've got both the intermediate and wets because there's always a chance of rain. Now, as for what to expect in the race, as you can see, this thing absolutely launches off the mark. You are going to want to be careful around corners, especially like this first corner, to not accelerate into the corner. It'll understeer quite a bit, so it's just another case of slightly slower in and faster out. But as you'll see here, the straight is where you're going to make up most of your time, and this thing can punch out quite easily sub 4 minute laps and do it quite consistently. So yeah, we're powering down the straight here, absolutely flying past just about everyone, and approaching 300 kilometers an hour, getting up closer to the 340k mark, I think we were. So it's pretty quick. And yeah, so I'm giving it plenty of brake and plenty of braking space before those chicanes, but it's kind of reminiscent in a way of the time trial that we did at Le Mans last week, you know, in this car. So as you can see there, we're getting into first place by the time we meet Mulsanne, you know, so that's pretty good. And I just make sure that after, you know, the big braking zones like this, I'm on the brake nice and early. So that's that's pretty quick to get ahead of them that fast, you know. So I'm doing the same thing around all the major braking zones basically. So in Indianapolis, same deal, you know, and then right here in second gear. It just absolutely wheel spins, but surprisingly you can make a set of hards last for 4 laps. So in this race I'd managed to do that. So as I came through for the first time through the S's here, it's probably going to be your slowest section of the race, you know, but yeah, if you can take some decent lines, it's not even that slow really, because we'd come through for, you know, a couple of seconds under 4 minutes. That's, you know, that's a pretty good time. I was on the watch out for rain, of course, and as you can see here, it came past at the end of lap 2, and so I had a choice to make, but decided that I was going to give it a go and just try and go for 1 lap and see if the rain would hold up. So we come through for a 3:56 on the second lap, and you know, basically within, I don't know, 30 seconds, the rain had started to hit the track, but there wasn't too much to it, as you can see here. The main thing is it kind of just meant that I had to brake a little bit earlier, and my shift light was going off a little bit earlier. So if you use that as a reference point, then yeah, you might want to use something else. But as you can see here, the rain didn't really get too heavy. There was enough to make it a little bit slippery, but as you can see there, it's probably only added about 5 or 6 seconds to my average lap time. So after 4 laps, we're going to come in, and it looks like the rain isn't really going to eventuate, so we're going to put on another set of hards, full tank of fuel, and we're going to go back out. And I was just slightly careful here, of course, because of the cold tyres and the wet conditions. And the rain did come back for a little bit, but it wasn't too heavy, and so these couple of patches here are basically all I saw for the rest of the race. And so in dry conditions you can quite easily do a no stop, I think, if you've got it on fuel map 6, but you'd be kind of pushing your luck a bit. So I think the 1 stop's definitely, you know, ideal for dry conditions, and if it rains, you know, a quick stint on either wets or intermediates is probably the go. But as I was saying, just be careful of braking too late in these conditions with this car, because yeah, you will overcook some of the corners. But yeah, so I'd continue to try and rinse and repeat, and the sun would come out shortly. So I just basically was trying to warm the tyres up and get back up to a decent pace here. So just over 4 minutes, I was pretty happy with that. And yeah, I mean, you know, the power in this thing's just amazing. The top end's unbelievable, considering that we've got the power restrictor down to like 72%. So yeah, I think it's really easy to win this race, but do it consistently in this car. And honestly, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous at times, but you know, that's all part of it, really. You know, I really like the fact that you can throw this thing around and it gets a bit of wheel spin in the rear, and yeah. So we'd still plenty of time, as you can see here. We're going to pull up after 7 laps and have to wait for a minute or so. And yeah, I mean, I could have done 8 laps, to be honest. So there you go. We'd come through for the win, 7 laps with 1.5 minutes or something to spare in 30 minutes. Fastest lap was lap 2, I believe. That was a can't quite remember. 56, I believe. 3:56. So there you go, guys. Anyway, yeah, I hope you like that one, and some of you guys out there who can't be bothered tuning, yeah, I really enjoy doing this sort of stuff, so I hope someone makes good use of it, and yeah, go out and make a mint. And be sure to like and subscribe, guys, if you like the content, and if you want to see any more, let me know how you go, or if you've got any improvements that you can make. And yeah, until next time, guys, take care. Bye.